In the contemporary world, the term crisis seems to have become a buzzword for describing practically any sphere of modern life. The climate crisis, the housing crisis, hospital crisis. Just try to name one sphere of life that doesn't fit the description. Yeah, that's what I mean. But how in the world did we get ourselves to such a critical place? My doctoral studies answer to this question is education. I'm Dr. Lena Redman, Russian-born Australian educational researcher, and Ripples at Work is a Facebook-based community space where I invite you to trial my new educational model. Have you ever heard the saying attributed to Abraham Lincoln? The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. I believe this saying explains how we got to where we are now. The educational reforms of the last 60 or so years were meant to address real concerns, but in fact, they moved modern education and consequently Western society towards a crisis. Remodeling the philosophy of the schoolroom, and in fact the concept of the room itself as a learning environment, is the focus of the Ripples at Work trials. Ripples at Work model works on the assumption that democratic society begins not with the decisions made by a government, but with the on average 14 years of education that people who make those decisions went through, and equally the education of those in society who influence and either accept or reject those decisions. So the policy-making decisions about what kind of education society needs are at the discretion of those in government who are influenced by the system of education they experienced. So you can see how one thing catches up with another. And herein lies the main principle of the Ripples at Work system of interdependent relationships that can be described as a continuous dynamic of catching and being caught, or pushing and being pushed. In other words, the philosophy of the schoolroom affects the philosophy of the government as well as being shaped by the government. From this we can conclude that by reforming education, we aim to reform the social conditions in which we live. The circular concept of Ripples at Work learning stems from the correlation between the education provided to citizens and the building of a society where all its citizens have the opportunity for self-realization. And why do I think that the idea of self-realization for every individual is not too good to be true, but actually quite realistic? Well, because I believe that it can really be attained. How? By offering education that is directed towards the development of a custom-built repertoire of unique capabilities that help an individual to integrate into the network of the society. The adjectives custom-built and unique are essential for the development of a self-realizing repertoire of capabilities. It is through knowledge and skills of this kind that individuals develop the personalized know-how that enables them to continuously adapt to continuously reshaping society, as well as to contribute to this process of reshaping. Here is a bird's eye view of the Ripples at Work model. I know it is hard to grasp the whole concept straight away, and looking at the diagram probably stirs up more questions than answers. And that is why I prepared 10 videos for us to ground ourselves and explore the system closely. Ripples at Work is first of all a model designed to address a rapidly changing world. And because of this change, we have to find new ways to think about life and about learning. At the heart of the Ripples at Work model is the idea that the core of an individual's stability grows from their unique evolutionary coding. But it has to be given the chance to be discovered and nurtured within a learning environment that facilitates its development. The Ripples at Work model is a platform that provides such a learning environment. And the trials are an experimental project designed to evaluate the suggested set of learning techniques and relations, as well as looking for ways to improve them. The Ripples at Work trials are designed with 4 groups of folks in mind, but not at all limited to only these people. Group A are the parents, or perhaps grandparents, who are concerned with how poorly the outcomes of modern education meet the demands of the contemporary labor market and employment conditions. Also, the homeschooling parents, who are focused on equipping their children with the best possible repertoire of knowledge and skills relevant to current social circumstances. These are also the parents who are looking for ways in which their children can better understand themselves in relation to the world they live in and therefore get a better grip on designing their future lives. Group B are the teachers who are in search of approaches that are better tuned to the specifics of unprecedented contemporary conditions, who are looking for more exciting ways to engage their students in learning projects that may well be more beneficial for the students' future. I'm also very well aware of a significant group of practicing teachers who are frustrated with the limitations imposed by a standardized system of education that thwarts the fulfillment they would like to get from being a teacher. If you are looking for self-realizing teaching strategies, you are very welcome to try the Ripples at Work system of teaching and learning. Group C are the social, educational, or developmental psychology researchers who are exploring pedagogical and epistemological innovations in the digital era. If you are one of them, I believe you will find the series and the future trials rich with ideas for your research, discussions, and experiments in reshaping the concepts of learning. Group D are the students, either those who have made a decision about their future professional practices and are already engaged in vocational training and preparing themselves for better ways to approach the labor market, or those who are still at school but thinking seriously about their future professional opportunities. You are all very welcome, not just to be participants, but cooperators in this exciting project of trialing the Ripples at Work model and potentially becoming co-developers of and co-hosts in the future games. I once heard the phrase, keeping our schools free from education. It might sound incongruous, but the correlation of school and education and the fitness of this correlation for contemporary social conditions is entering a period of deep distrust. James Paul G., a distinguished scholar of linguistics and education, called these times the anti-education era. In his book with this title, he writes, "School is about abstract textual knowledge, reading, theories, and factual knowledge. It is not surprising then that research has long shown that a student doing well in school in terms of grades and tests does not correlate with being able to solve problems in the areas in which the students has been taught. In other words, the modern school offers education that is not about gaining practical knowledge and skills to enable an individual to enter and succeed in the web of life, but about the achievement of and competition in accordance with common standards. In the trials of the Ripples at Work model, affiliation with any university would mean being funded by government. And being funded by government leads to a construct built of common standards. But because the Ripples at Work model is about breaking away from the common standards, I'm looking for opportunities to carry out these trials independently. And that is why I invite real people like you, with genuine concerns about the contemporary system of education, a system that results in individual dissatisfaction and societal crisis all over the world, to become co-creators of a more progressive educational model. Together, we can promote this model to the world by designing and conducting the online Ripples at Work games, where families or groups of students compete in the production of knowledge by responding to a critical problem that global society faces today. So, if you are a parent, a teacher, an educational researcher or a student who understands that modern education is stuck in the past, and it is our responsibility not to allow our young to be disillusioned and hurt by broken promises and false directions, join us in our Ripples at Work Facebook trials. Fill in the form to register yourself as a participant, and I'll see you soon in our exciting and very important project, designing new ways of teaching and learning that ripple throughout life.